Hi there, this is Greg T with the Image Stop doing an overview on how to edit the ARMA International Education Foundation website as far as some of the pages and so on and so forth. Now this is going to be done in a few different manners. First, we're going to do a quick overview of the back end of the site. This will be quick, but what we do encourage, and we'll start with this, is that you go in, have a look, play around with the site, and as long as you don't go in save any of the changes and stuff that you make, you can go in, make changes, add sections to pages, so on and so forth, even create an extra page just to experience some of these things. We do encourage doing a little bit of playing around just to familiarize yourself with what is available here. Now, we do like to say to all of our clients that before you start adding, extra plugins or things that you feel are things that your site might need, please contact us, because it may be that the website builder that theme builder that we have and used for your site already has the capability of doing so, and adding new and extra plugins and things to create new features can slow down your site and can potentially conflict with existing setups within your website. So that is something that we see happen when clients go in and add new things because they want to do it, which is great. But unfortunately, what has happened is not knowing that it may be something that conflicts with their current site. Pardon me. So that is something that we can definitely help you with and make sure that everything is in line. All part of what we do with our hosting and maintenance management for our clients. So without further ado, let's go through. Okay, here we're starting just with what you see when you first log into your website. Okay, this is the back-end dashboard. It in future it'll always be called the dashboard or your admin dashboard. And this is kind of how it works. It has a lot of the tabs there to the left-hand side. Now, I will say that it is best accessed through a desktop computer. You can access it through a tablet or phone, but it is a lot more cluttered because there's a lot of information, of course. So that is one thing to keep in mind when going into doing editing in the back end. And that includes the rest of your site. Now, how that whole thing, so all the tabs there on the left-hand side, you notice here, this is the thing you see as far as your main dashboard or your main landing page dashboard, the home part. If you click up here in the top right where it says screen options, you can turn on and off different things here. So, I would just kind of close off some of the things that we really don't need sitting there. I'm going to kind of move this over here. Maybe click there, and then the contact form thing there. You can move things around too, just to make it more, customized to what you would like to see. So it's a nice thing, a nice setup there. And you can also, of course, close some of this information just by toggling the arrows up and down. So if you ever want to do some adjustments, that's a good way of doing it. Now, you will have full admin access to the website here. So the way that this is actually all set up here is that once you've logged in, you're in the back end, you're going to be able to do virtually anything you like. Some of the main areas you're going to want to be concerned with are posts. That is where we have the forms all done up for the I'm just going to show here for your educational applications and stuff. That's all in the post section, and pages, and we'll cover those separately. So again, this is a basic overview so you see what is available. Contact form, where you see that's where it now says it's got a red dot and got the number 8 in it. That is where you get all the data that is entered and saved from your contact form entries. What I'm doing right now is I'm actually going in here and I'm going to move those to the trash because those ones are no longer relevant. Maybe other ones are as well. I'll let you do that. You can go in and you literally get kind of click on the links here. Oops, wrong one. Sorry, I clicked on the. I clicked on the email address. I was going to email that person, but you can see, what it is that they have sent. Okay, this here, as you can see here, this goes through a specific form, and let's see here. That kind of covers most of that. Now, as far as basically review of all the entries that have been made. Okay, as a neat feature here, if I go into one of the last ones here, I'm going to restore this one of mine that I entered, and just so you can see, so we'll go and view that one. This one is a full entry from one of the application forms. As you can see, it's got all the information there, including a link to the PDF file that was saved. So that is just or the PDF file that was uploaded. So that's how you can do that. How you can check all those things, just in case you someone says, I sent something, you didn't receive, it wasn't received, you can go back here and find that entered here if it was fully sent. Now, there can be issues that happen, such as a glitch in the connection that the person had on the internet, where they think they saved and they didn't wait for it to finally send, and they moved to the next page and it interrupted the actual sending of the form. That can happen. It's not that often, but it is something that we have seen happen in the past, and any potential is a potential. So if it's not showing up here, that just means that it wasn't sent. From here, what happens is a copy goes into the database here, and also to the email that's been set up in the form itself. And that goes for any of the forms on any of the pages, all the applications, and the general contact forms on the contact page as well. But yeah, and you can also, of course, as you can see, export the entire CSV, so you can see everything that has been sent in, and it's a good way of maintaining some of your records externally if you need. Now, one thing here, you'll see this SMTP thing. You may have someone say, hey, what's that about? Now, what it basically comes down to is it is possible to have all your forms sent through your server if set up that way. In this case, the forms are not set up to go through the server. They are set up to go through the regular SendMail program, which is connected with a WordPress installation. Should that be an issue on sending period, then we can change that. Now, that said, we know that if these entries are coming through, or if everything is coming through here, that it is it is working, the form is working properly, and there will be other things that we can look into if there's issues. We have that solved, as you know, so everything seems to be working and looking well. Other than that, there's lots of different things you have as far as your settings and so on and so forth here. Have a look, that's great, but I'm going to do the quick tutorial on how you can do some of the editing. So I'm going to go to the home page. I'm going to use that as an example for some of the changes. Now, only when you're logged in, you'll see at the very top, there is a black bar there. And in that black bar, it says Edit Page, but it also says Enable Visual Builder. The reason that there is, I'm going to open the edit page in a different window so you can see what this is actually going to look like. Okay, and as you can see, so in a website, you basically have everything set up in rows, columns, and modules. So your row being such as sections, rows, columns, and modules. The whole section at the very top would be where you've got that image and then the text module on top of it at the top here. Next, you got the next row, if you will, with two columns, one with text saying who we are, more text, and then a button, and then the other one says what we do with more text and a button. Let's take a look and see what that looks like. In the back end, there's your header, or with your section, your row, and then the text. And here we have what we call a blurb module. A blurb module, and I'm going to click the gear. Anytime you're editing here, you can look in the back end, or anything you can see the gear is how you open that module. And look, what do you know? There's your who we are, there's your text, and if we go to the actual, click that yet. Underneath there is a button, and the button says more, just like this one here. Now, this is just mainly to show you the structure. No, you do not have to edit everything in the back end. I'm going to actually close this window, and I'm going to say leave. We don't want to save anything. I'm going to show you how to edit in the front end so you can have a visual interface on how things work. So I'm going to enable the visual builder. As we enable the visual builder here, you're going to be able to see how you can edit everything, such as just as it says, visually. Now, sometimes you may get a double load here. Don't worry, that's not a glitch, not a problem with the site. Just sometimes there are extra scripts that required additional loading, and that is not an issue. So here we are. There's our sections, everything in blue, just like it was in the back end. Here's our row or column in the kind of tealy green color, and then we have our gray, which is our module. So same thing. So let's assume that we want to change the text underneath who we are. What we're going to do is we're going to go click that gear, and simply, just like you type it in, add new text. Really simple. That's kind of done there. Now, you'll notice here that the interface here has, making things bold, italicized, changing some of the orientation stuff. I would encourage you that if you were changing the entire section, like in this, that we not do it there. We go to the design area, and we change the text and stuff there. So we could actually go in here. Oops, sorry, not in the title. And we could change and say, okay, we want this to have shadows on it. Look at that. Changing how this looks. We could change the shadowing, do a whole bunch of odd and strange things for it. Yeah, I know this makes it blurry, but you can just see to the extent of what is possible. And we only show you this is just so you do see that this is what's possible. Now I'm gonna, if I click the check mark, that will save the module, not save the page. So it doesn't actually publish the page to your site. It just saves the initial work that you're working on. For the sake of argument, I'm going to click yes. Now, no worries. This isn't showing up live for anybody that's on the page or anything at this point, so it's good. And that's how you edit, your text. Now, that's a text in a blurb module. Some will just be simply text modules, such as this one. Oh, sorry, that is a blurb module, but underneath, I believe that's a text module. There we are, text settings. And we can just change some of the things simply in there. That's how you just type it in. If you find some weird formatting because you've maybe copied it from a Word document, what I would encourage you to do, and I'm going to copy this just to show you, is go to so you've got in the top tabs here, visual and text. If you go text, it will just paste in that text based on the preset formatting that is already set up in the page or in that module. If you copy and paste from a Word document, you may get other settings and formatting that has been transferred over from Word. Now, that can be good, it can be bad. That's why it's available to you. Our encouragement is if you really do need to change some things here, such as maybe even add just a section, a portion of bold instead of the whole thing, we can go in and say, okay, let's do this, and then we're going to make that bold here. You see how that changed here in the visual right there. So nice way of doing this. In this case, of course, we're not going to keep that. We're going to say everything's fine, and we'll click the X actually so we don't save anything. Buttons are really good and awesome to have in this particular area. So what we do is we go in here. Here's our button. It's already been pre-created. There's our link to where that section goes, opens in the same window, that kind of stuff. So again, we encourage you to go in and play with some of these things. Now, what I want to show you here is how you can add new things, okay? So you've got that there. Let's say for the sake of argument, you want to have a section right below the main header area here that says, here is where we have our, maybe it's just a quick overview of, the Armor International, the AIEF stuff. So we're going to say, okay, let's go. We're going to create a new section. Watch this. Click that button. It says new section. We're going to make it a regular section. There's many different ways we can do it. We'll say regular. We're going to say want it to be full width, or one column. So here's how you can break up your columns however you want. Perfect. And then it says, okay, let's insert a module. Isn't that great? Like, so you have all these things available to you. So all these different modules are now available for you to use within your website. Loads of different things, from number counter to navigation to a search bar. If you want it for the entire site, you could do, okay, we've actually added additional things where they're a little specialized, if you will, a little more unique modules that have been added here, all in the Supreme section here. Again, no extra cost. We manage all of the licensing for that for all of our clients that are hosting or have maintenance with us. So there's all that there. And as you get to the end, there's even more. Now it's all done alphabetically, so it's there. You can even search, and let's say I want the text module. It'll show the ones with text only. Let's just say in this case, I want the number counter. Oh, there it is here. So yeah, let's add that number counter. Immediately puts it in, and we can say, let's see here. And we can say, just for the sake of argument, we can say let's not make that a percentage. And look at that, kind of neat there. And you notice how that kind of tallied up and did all that extra. Well, this isn't saying you have to use this, but it's just something that's kind of neat to have in this section. So we can change the title text, and we can say I want that to be italicized, or let's change the number text and say that I want that number to be bold or ultra bold, and we're going to make that in red instead. And we can increase the size to be huge, and we're going to change the orientation if we want. In this case, I'm not going to do that, of course. But yeah, so that's how that could look there. Just adding that. And say when you're done, you say, I don't like the spacing here. Well, watch this. You can actually literally drag and drop and change some of the spacing here. So some really neat features in this. Now, if you don't like something you did, you don't want it, really simple to do as well. We just go in here and we click that garbage can, and it deletes the entire section. Or you can delete just the row, or you can delete just the module. So there's some of the editing capabilities there. Again, this is a quick overview and base, but it gives you the idea. Now in this section here, this is for announcements, right? When you click that there, and it's going to say blog settings. Now, all of our announcements and our two application forms are created in the posts section, which is kind of like a blog entry type thing. So the way that this works, and I'm going to actually go over to our post in the back end here just so you see. So here we go, the third-party risk management, taming the beast using information governance. We'll look at that. If we go to that, there, it will be showing up in these sections here. Now, that's in the research reports. This press release, the 2022 Spring Foundation Education, there it is. That's because this is for the news and press releases section. The way this sets up is anytime we have a blog module that is made or meant to feed the information that is sent into that blog category, the category that it's selected will then show all these things here. So in this case, if we wanted to change that so we know we want the research reports and not the news, it will then change to that third-party risk management thing that we just showed. Kind of neat. Now, the reason we don't have that here is that is setting up in another section in a different spot on the website, so we don't need to. But that's how that happens. So you don't have to actually add this entry. It automatically feeds for you when you create a new post, which we will show later in this video. Scanning down too, I want to kind of note here is a few things. You notice the sections here that are gray. The reason those are gray is those are set to show only in the on a mobile view. Let's show you how that works. So if we go to this particular row, okay, I'm going to click on the gear, and we go into the advanced section. So on these tabs here, we like to say where it says content design and advanced. It's kind of like beginner, intermediate, advanced. A beginner, that's where you just do your main changes. Intermediate, that's where you do stuff that's going to affect some of the formatting and things. And advanced is where you can do much deeper and even coding if you wanted to. Now in this case, we're only looking at the visibility portion. And in that visibility portion, it just says disable on the desktop. Okay, and that's perfect there because what this is set up is so that our buttons balance properly when it comes to the desktop view. So that's where this one is set. So let's take a look here. We're going to look at this for our desktop view, advanced, visibility, and there you go, disable on phone and tablet. So what ends up happening is on phone and tablet, these two sections disappear, and these ones then take over because they are going to be stacked top and bottom, mainly on the on your phone. If you take a look there, that's why those come up that way. And it works really well, whereas it won't work the same with this other one because it is set specifically for desktop. Now you'll see that too. That's for some of these other areas here. And you scroll down here, this is, okay, again, we got the press release 2022 Spring Foundation, same as this, but this is set for desktop versions. And that is why it's a little bit different. And we go here, visibility. Oh, and my apologies. There's actually, it's set up a period. And actually, yeah, this was actually one of our original builds for you. And we hit it on everything because it was set up for a different layout. We weren't sure which one we were going to use. So we set up both for you and we just hid that. So I can actually delete it in that case. No problem. Now, I'm actually, no, I shouldn't actually do the deletion, sorry, because we aren't going to save this page. Not a big deal. It just means it's not going to show for anybody ever. And that can be there in case you want to change things in the future. So that gives you a basic overview of the page. So once everything is done, you've made all the changes you need to make, what you need to do is you need to go down to the bottom purple button and click that and open it. And it opens a new menu. Now you notice in this new menu some neat features. You can click to see kind of what this might look like on tablet. There's your change in the buttons that we mentioned. Or on phone, same thing. There's the change in the buttons we mentioned again. So they stack differently that way. Works really nice. Of note, these are general ideas of how they're going to look on tablet and phone. Not perfect on every single device just because there are so many devices and so many different screen sizes. This is calculated for screen size. And there, once that's all done, so you've got that, you've seen some of these things, you notice there's a save button over to the right. You must click save to publish the page for it to go live. You could make all these changes, and if you don't click save and you leave, that will not happen. Now, in this case, we don't want to save it though, because it's we don't want to keep that red highlight in the background. So in this case, I'm just going to go up to Exit Visual Builder, which is the very last thing you do after you save. And it's going to warn me and say, hey, don't forget, you don't save it. In this case, I'm going to discard it. We don't want to save that. And we're going to exit, and everything stays the same. Okay? So that is the brief overview on how to make those changes. And that goes for any page whatsoever. If there's specific areas you're not sure about, just send us an email and we can help you with that as well. Okay, this next part of your video is to go over the your scholarship posts and how they appear on your website, so you can do your timing and as far as when they post and when the post actually expires. This will be something that just simply needs to be, I guess, changed. Once a year. You can go in at any time during the year, because the actual time that the post will be made available and the time that it expires can be set at any given time. So you can set it for both at the same time and then walk away for an entire year if you need to. So it's kind of handy that way. Now, here's just the way it works. I'm here on the Education Scholarship, so I've actually gone through the scholarship page and checked out the Education Scholarship section. Notice about the very bottom, there is the currently available scholarships with the 2 buttons available. Now, those 2 buttons are controlled by the blog display that we showed previously. So that's kind of how this works. It's actually taking the posts, or the blog entries, if you will, or as the key, where it then uses those entries as what is showing in the feed. I'm going to show you how that works, again, kind of connected to the previous one we showed. So I'm entering the Visual Builder, going into that Visual Builder, scrolling down to the bottom, and you can see the currently available scholarships, and there you can go into this section here. Now you notice that these are all in a bright green. The reason they're in a bright green is these elements, or these areas, sections, rows, columns, are all saved as global elements. So if anything changes on any one page, it will change on every single page the exact same way. The reason this is done this way, if you go to the ARMA one there, for instance, that's because this uses the exact same post. So if, for instance, you needed to change the accepted dates, you'd only have to change one page and it would change on all of them. So that's why this is done this way. Now also, here, let's take a look at here. I'm going to click and open this module, and you'll see that it is a blog post module, so it is actually doing a feed. And scrolling down, it is the scholarships category we've chosen there. So nothing else will ever show there, just scholarships. If you add new scholarships, those will show up there. If you remove scholarships, then they'll stop showing. This is just anything that you have chosen the category of for that feed. That's how it'll show up, and I'll show you how that works as well. So other than that, everything is already set. It will automatically feed that way for you. So I'm going to exit this. No changes were made, so we're not have to worry about that. But I am going to go into the actual scholarship here. So this is, when you go down here, begin application. This is the same one. You can tell by the title, Education Scholarship Begin Application. Okay, and it isn't actually, so what it's doing is when I click this, for instance, okay, it is showing the actual, I guess, application right here, as far as how that looks, how that's got all the information, everything that people have to put in. Now, important to see that, because this is actually done as a post. There it is. There's your blog post right here. And let's just a second here. And scroll through here. Perfect. Okay, so all of this is set and good. All right, just making sure. Sorry, I just wanted to check and make sure we had that right post, and this is the correct one. So in that, what we have is, okay, the beginning text. I want to show you that. There's that beginning text. Then we have our application requirements toggle, then our form, and then the quick note at the very bottom. There we go. There's our text. There's our toggle. There's our form, and then there's a note at the very bottom. Now, if something changes on the contact form, I'm just going to show you how that goes. This is how all the fields are entered one by one. Now, I can take these and I can drag them into different sections. That's something that can get a little complex, but to be real, you should be able to go in here and, add things. You need to have a field ID plus the label. And how this all works. Now, this is a lot more in depth than just simply one of our simplest, I guess, just adding text portions here. So this is something we'd take an entire video to show you differently. If you need your forms changed, let us know. We can use the change in the form to explain how that goes. There are many steps involved. But what we wanted to cover here is the posting and expiry. So in this particular one, we know that because of your application's acceptance, I guess time frames here are February 15th to March 15th. Watch this. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go in here. Now we've got here, so publish. If we go into the edit here, and we can say we want this to be published on February 15th 2023. We're going to say it. There we go, at 12:01 in the morning. So we're going to say, okay, done. And we're going to say that that is all set. So that will schedule that to actually be done, okay, or to be added at 12:01 in the morning, February 15th, 2023. And as we scroll down here, we've got the publish request future. Now you can take some of these and drag them. In this case, I would suggest that you just drag this up to the top just so it's right there and available for you. This will change from different from each individual's login. So if we enable the post expiration now, we'll say 2023, and just as make sure March 15th is when we're changing this to. So we go to here, we can say, okay, March 15, and we're going to go with go for 20. Actually, I'm going to go here at 11:59 just to make sure I have that right. We don't have any weird things. How to expire, then it will go then to draft at this time. The reason I want it to go to draft and not to trash or delete is that if it's a draft, then it will not show for anybody, but it'll still be available so you can reschedule. Okay. Now all I have to do is go schedule. Now, as soon as that's done, there we go. What's going to happen is I'm going to go over here to the scholarships page for the Lamar Nostra one here, and I'm going to do a refresh of the page. Now we scroll down, you'll see at the bottom, the other one no longer exists. It is now awaiting the final, publishing date, so then it will show up. Now, if you're not sure and you're maybe a little nervous about how that works, my recommendation is just set this for the next day or set this for the next hours or whatever as far as when you want it to publish, and then go take a look again just to make sure it works. But this is how it works. Awesome there. So once that one's all done, we can now leave. Now that one's been posted, and I'm going to go down here to the certification reimbursement award here. Now here's one a nice key here. If you're not sure, if you've got a lot of other entries that you need to find, you can go in here and you can go into scholarships and click the filter, and it's only going to show those in that category. So it's kind of good that way. So again, I'm going to open this differently. And once that is all finished here, all loaded, we're going to do the same thing. I want to go to this one. I'm going to find out, okay, oops, sorry, my bad. I wanted to open it. There we go. I want to find out our deadlines are July 15th to August 15th. Perfect. So let's go here. We're going to edit this one, and we're going to say we want this July 15th. Uh, 2022, perfect. And we're going to expire then August 15th. There we go. Now you notice here too, and that will then go to draft. I'm going to update that. It is set for Mountain Standard Time at this point, okay? I don't believe that you have actually specific time frames here as far as which time zone that is. That can be changed, okay? If you need that changed, just let us know. How that changed, just to show you, you may want to actually tackle this. It's all within our overall settings here. So if we go to our general overall settings, you'll see here. And here we go. You can change your time zones here as necessary. Okay, and it will change then with the rest of the feed. Sorry, on your for your posts and so on and so forth, where we had that did that editing there. So I'm just kind of going through some of the quick pages here. I'm going to leave that. We don't want to do that. There we go. Closing some of my tabs because I got a lot open and we don't want to confuse things here. So that is how you set those up. So all you need to do then is, my recommendation is after the August one, go in sometime over the next month or so afterwards and just go and reset when you want that published there. So you publish the initial one here, again, going into scholarships, do this, and all you have to do is go in and set it. So there you go. If you can even take a look here. Right now, you've got both of them. They are set to happen at 12:01 a.m. and they're going to then expire at 11:59 p.m. On the 15th there for February, March, and the 15th there for July and August. Perfectly set. Everything is all set for you. That's it. And so if we were to actually go to the page right now, just to see there, and you might like this here. We go to, okay, education scholarship. What do we have? Here's what it's all about. No results. The page you cannot be found. Try to find your search. there is no results right now. There's nothing available. And that's going to show there just to let them know that there is nothing happening there. If you need that message changed, please let us know. Not a big deal. That's just the default that comes in there. On that default side, that also then would apply to all posts and things as well. So I'm going to cover that as our last bit of the education stuff here. Here for entering your new post. So right now we have the press release for the 2022 Spring Foundation Education Scholarship Awards that were announced. So we're going to go to there and say, okay, here's your entry. Very good. And you got the download the press release. Beautiful. I want to show you how that looks in the back end, because most of this page has been preset for formatting for you to make life easy. Okay. All we needed to do is enter the title and literally cut and paste all the stuff that was put in here. Now, I would recommend that you keep some of this similar, okay? So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna create a new post just to start as a test post to show you how this would work. Right off, I'm gonna say, okay, so we have, let's say we have a new press release that you want sent, and you wanna add a PDF just like this one. Well, here's how we're gonna do it. First of all, we're gonna go to the media library. Again, I'm just gonna open this in a new tab for organizational purposes. I'm gonna say, okay, add new. And we're going to, so you can see here, just as a neat of interest sake, you can scroll through to see all the different media that's actually been added to the site. You notice there's some things in here that you may recognize from the old site. That's because, in all honesty, when we began working on this site, there were some things that were asked for that we did, and then we said, okay, now they need to be removed. And so there's some work that has been done and pictures added and so on and so forth that then had to be taken off the site again. So some of this may not be in existence on the site at this point. You can, if you like, go through to remove things just to clean things up if you like, and just make sure they're not being used on the site. That's all. So on this, first of all, we'd go in here and we select files. It's really as simple as finding the files you want to upload. I'm just going to upload this one here for now, for argument's sake. There we go. Uploads that. Now, if I click on it, automatically, let's just see a little bit of what that document looks like. But also over on the right-hand side gives us the ability to copy the URL. We're going to use that in a little bit. Okay. Now, in the post side of things, what I'm going to do is there's two ways of doing things. You can go up to the top and say, add a new post. You can go to the left-hand side in that menu there and say add new post. It's done, to be fairly redundant. Oh, I should actually point out too, there's also the button here where it says add new post. The redundancy is important because, people do things different ways. So there's just different ways of you being able to do so. So here we go. I'm going to add here and say test post, and that will do fine for our title. And then I'm not going to use the Divi builder. I'm not going to use the theme builder or page builder that we have installed here, for one main reason. As I said, everything is already pre-formatted. So what I could do, let's try this a little bit differently. I'm going to say no. Let's just forget that. I'm going to go to all posts, and I'm going to just leave that one. Okay, that one's no longer existing. I just got rid of it because we don't need it. But watch what I am going to do. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say, okay, well, I actually had it already open. My bad. Okay, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to select all. Once I click in this window, select all and copy. Or I can always do it this way too. Select all and copy. And now we're going to go back to a new press release. So repeat that again. Test post. And I'm just going to paste that all in place. Look at that. Everything's all been duplicated. Now all I have to do is go into my document and I can add everything here. Add all these different things here, remove some of the things that aren't necessary. And the reason I did that this way is this section's maybe section that I want to have, right? I want to keep that there. So I can actually do a copy and paste of just that section I want, or whatever. But it just maintains some consistency in all of the posts that are being made. Okay, so now here on the download the press releases, that's something we want to do. So I'm going to highlight that section because that's made to click. And look at that. If I go click here, edit, it gives me the ability to apply that new PDF in there. Now, if I click the gear, just like on the other stuff, it allows us to set this a little bit differently. Put the URL in there, select another post, if you will, change the text, and open in a new tab. Now, we have this set already to open a new tab for one main reason. Anytime that someone is taken off of the website, we like to make sure, and including opening a document, we like to make sure they go into a new tab so when they close it down, they're still on the website, and that's you then remain top of mind. So back to the media file that we created previously, I've noted that copy URL to clipboard. This is where it comes in handy. You click that, We go back to our new our post, sorry, right there, and we're going to go here and paste it right in there and update. So now that has the new one there. The last two things you need to do now. You've got all of your content entered. You can set your SEO and stuff here. That's something that we didn't cover and won't cover in this video, but there's some other things you can do potentially if you like. But I will say, okay, now this needs to be, in this case, we're looking at it being, is it news or press release? Well, let's take a look here. So if we, go into our whole website here. Incidentally, I will be removing this post and that content after too. So on the research education side, we go news. Oh, okay, news, press release, so on and so forth. Good. Okay, so we're going to go down here and say this is news and press release and recent research. That is for this entire section here of this previous one we looked at. So let's look at that. Research reports. Very good. Proposed guidelines, look at that. That's a little different section. Research. That doesn't have a feed, so we got that there. So some of these categories may have been imported from the previous site, and that's okay. In this case, we're saying this is a news release and it is a press release. We're good with that. All that other stuff doesn't count. Research reports, those are done the same way. You just click the other category. Then, when it's all said and done, we hit publish, and I'll show you how that ends up looking. So, I'm going to now go to education, news, and look at that. There's our test post automatically feeding there. Love it. Everything's set there. Click read more. You get to then read that post. All the formatting has been set accordingly. And you notice if you click that, you get to see that PDF that we uploaded. And it opened the new tabs. If we close, we stay on the site. Cool. That's the basics right there. Last, I guess, to show you the research reports. Research reports are done very similarly, okay, as far as how they actually end up feeding as well. Slight difference being here is we actually go to the edit post section. You'll see that I've used the builder on this one, and you could do the same. It's just a matter you have to actually create the page to, I guess, add the button, add the text, and so on and so forth. And the other section was created to make it just a little bit easier for you. And then, of course, click the category for research reports. And that's it. That kind of sums up everything for you. So I hope that makes sense. Again, if you have future things that you, or more things that you need done or need figured out for you, let us know. Okay, because we can help you with future videos. Here, I'm going to actually go here and trash this test post down there. There we go. Click that button. And I am going to go into the media section in the library. And we'll do the same thing here. Click delete permanently. Yes, I know it's permanent and it's gone. So perfect. Everything's all set. That will no longer show up in your feed, which is a very good thing. Let's close that down. And let's verify that just to be safe. And there we go. News and gone. If you do ever notice that something you've deleted or something is still showing up, it's very likely that it's just simply sitting in the cache. It could be browser cache. It could also be hosting cache. If it's hosting level, we can go into, and this is your hosting section right here, to show you some things, and we can flush the cache out so that it does renew and get rid of everything that's been stored. I think that sums it up. So there's your brief overview. Now what we will do in this too is we will send you a login for you on how to access this. I know this is once we have confirmation from who we're supposed to be sending this to. In this case, we do, so it's okay. You'll be getting the login information. In this case, while doing the video. If you're new watching this video, then you may need to request that access because that is something we have to go through our contacts to make sure it's done safely and properly through the channels it's supposed to. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So thank you so much, and you take care.